coach development for Basketball Australia. Peter is a coach educator impacting coaching development around the world. He has been an Australian Opals assistant coach, a highly successful state director of coaching in Victoria and New South Wales, and an international clinician for FIBA. Peter and I met when he was the director of coaching for Victoria Country. Peter had a big influence on me as a coach. Don't hold that against him, okay? And someone I have always admired and looked to for guidance. Peter started coaching at the age of 19, and he is from a regional town just like all of you. Peter was attracted to coaching by the coaches he experienced in several sports as a junior. He said they were everyday people, plumbers, accountants, teachers, and their commitment and impact they had in teaching young people not only sporting skills but life skills made him want to be a coach. Peter has the ability to teach young athletes and have them feel valued. It is my honour to have Peter here today and to give some of our regional coaches and athletes the opportunity to learn from him. So please welcome Peter.
Thanks, Jack. It's great to be here in Wangaratta. I spent a lot of time in regional Victoria, and regional Victoria was very good to me in providing a lot of opportunities. I spent yesterday in Albury where my folks live doing a course, so it's really great to be here. I was joking with the Albury coaches yesterday that Southeast Melbourne Phoenix claim to be the heartland of basketball, and I said, well, we should all sue them because we know that regional Australia, the Riverina and down here into the Wangaratta area are really the heartland of basketball. So thanks for giving up your morning. I know it's really challenging at the moment. I've just come off the dreaded corona myself about 3 weeks ago, and I know it continues to impact everyone. So really appreciate and respect everything that you do as volunteer coaches. Today we're going to talk about two things: one-on-one skill development and then decision making. Now, while there's two topics, they're not mutually exclusive. You know, they're very linked. Every time we talk about basketball, every time we do a drill or try and map out a skill for kids, we should be linking the skill with the decision. Because nothing in basketball is done in isolation. If I'm going to shoot a wide open shot, there's a decision that's linked to my mechanics to shoot that wide open shot. Am I open? Is this in my range? Is this an appropriate time in the shot clock? Is it good for our team? So while we'll do it in two parts, we'll do the one-on-one the first bit and then some decision making, there'll be a lot of cross-pollination. I've got a friend that coaches in the NBA, and I asked him about 6 months ago, what's the single hardest thing to guard in the NBA? And I had my pad ready and I thought he was going to give me this fantastic answer about X's and O's and tactics and whatever else. And he said, players. And initially I was like, all right, smart ass, like, you know, he said, the hardest thing to guard in our league is skilled players. And then I started to watch the NBA a little bit and his games with a bit of a different lens, and I realised he's dead right, and that applies everywhere. You know, if you think about in Australia, in the NBL, the Perth Wildcats, Melbourne United, you know, these are the teams that have high level success consistently. Perth had that great flex system that Trevor Gleeson, another regional Victorian coach, put in. But what's the single hardest thing to guard with the Perth Wildcats? Bryce Cotton. All right? when United's rolling, they've got a great system. Another regional Victorian coach, Dean Vickerman from Warragul. What's the hardest thing to guard? Yeah, Chris Golding, those players. So I think sometimes as coaches we put the cart before the horse. We think about tactics, we think about systems, different style of play. If we prioritise really driving skill into young people, that's going to help us. It doesn't mean that we don't have to have organisation, that we don't have to have structure, but if I've got to choose, because I always think practice time's like a budget. There's only so many things you can put in the budget, right? So if I've got to manage my budget, I'm going to make sure I prioritise skill. Now we're going to talk about one-on-one skill here predominantly. I don't agree with a lot of modern coaches that you should never practice 1-on-0. There's a big push around that. But I think the way to really elevate individual skill is one-on-one. One of the reasons that we at the Centre of Excellence play a lot of one-on-one, and I encourage coaches all over Australia to play more one-on-one in practice, is society's changed. You used to be able to get into the stadium whenever you want and play one-on-one with your mates. There used to be a court at every school that you could go to at any time, play one-on-one with your mates. There was more informal, kids grew up just playing basketball. You think about not so long ago, Hannah Zavic, grew up playing against her brothers at any court that was available, indoor or outdoor. That's not as available anymore, right? So kids don't do it. Their lives are busier, they're more complex, so we've got to replace what they don't do in the playground now on the basketball court. Right? So what we want to do here in the first two drills, we're going to talk about time, the creation of time and space. That's one-on-one offensive basketball. Can I create time and space? All right, and if you look at the great best players of all time, they've got high level ability to create time and space so they can execute their offense. So you think about the late great Kobe Bryant, the thing he did the best was create time and space for himself. Hugely gifted, but he had an advanced ability to do that. Michael Jordan was able to play till he's 40. Now the first 10 years of his career, he was just a better athlete and basketball player than anyone he played against. The second half of his career, even the great ones, time catches up with you. You can't run as fast, you can't jump as high. And if you remember late in his career, really heightened ability to use fakes, play slow, create time and space to get his shot whenever he wanted. He's the only player over 40 other than Kareem to score 50 points in a game, right? And he did it very differently than he did early in his career. So, enough talking. What we're going to do is start with what we call the mellow drill. And the reason I call it the mellow drill is after Carmelo Anthony, another player who's got huge ability to create time and space. Guys, you're going to partner up and you need a ball between two. I need a pair here with the ball. Right. You're going to start about here on offense. You're going to guard him. So you're here, I'll be here. I'm not sure I need that, do I? Right. Everyone can hear me fine? Yeah. So what we're going to do is you're going to become long and strong. Alright, so this is the strong part. Here, this is the long part. So the drill is this, one-on-one. We're going to start further out here in the mid-range. Alright? Starting, try and deny it. I've got to make a pass to his advantage. Now, on the catch, what's the first thing he's got to do? He's got to square up and face the basket. And that's the first thing in creating time and space. So, on this, alright? So, he's got to figure out what's the best way in terms of his pivoting and his footwork to create time and space. The reason I asked him is he's right-handed. He pivoted on his left foot, which will allow me to jump out. As I catch it, I'm right-handed. I pivot on my left foot. Now I've got my jab foot, so I can jab, jump it off. What can I do? So if I'm you, I'm going to try and catch it and pivot on my right foot. Same thing, I can get in my shot. Alright? So firstly, you've got to give them some tools with their feet. Now, drill is this. You're going to try and take it away and allow you to make the catch tough. As soon as you catch it, you're guarding. Now, if you catch it, you're going to pivot. Now, your jab steps, right? Create time and space. You're going to use shot fakes to create time and space. And you're going to use drive fakes. And there's a difference between a jab step and a drive fake. If I jab step, fine. But if I drive fake, I want him to use my body language to create time and space to score. If you can score with no dribble, it's worth 3. If he can score off 1 dribble, it's worth 2. If he scores on 1 or more dribbles, it's worth 1. And we're playing games to 5. Right? So let's see that for a second. So you've got to agree with your most valuable choice to get no dribble. If I can catch it, jab him off, shoot my shot like a umbrella, that's what I want to do. Bring it. That would have been a 2-point score. Right? Flip it over. We go. Alright, now, you've got to be comfortable with the mess. And when I say that, don't worry about how it looks, don't worry about the aesthetics. Right? This isn't diving, right? There's no points for aesthetics. You just want to get them to play as much as they can. One of the most common things with players when they catch it, they're in a hurry. Right? What do we want to create? Time and space. So it takes time to create time. What I mean by that is, if I catch it and go, boom, I haven't given them time to do anything. Great offensive players start slow, finish fast. So as I catch it, I've got the ball, I've got the power. So as I catch it, and I'm playing a game of cat and mouse, I'm trying to play slow until they bite. Remember, as an offensive player, I can act quicker than the defensive player can react. Action always beats reaction. Alright, just getting ready to score 3. Alright, thumb there, thumb there, thumb there. Alright, here we go. One thing you'll notice is they all go too quick, too soon. Secondly, eyes are the most powerful offensive tool in basketball. Alright? Defense will follow eyes more than they'll follow the ball. How many of them catch it and their eyes never lift? Their eyes are looking down. I need to use my body, catch it, just that alone. My eyes will make a difference to the defense. So with the non-dribble moves, they have to slow down, let things unfold. Hold up, good. Alright, so we always want them to play to a score and add an element of competition. Even here, I told the guys before we started, this is about you, it's not about them, they're just helping us. But even that, I don't want to run a drill where there isn't some competitive element. not crazy competition, but just understand every time they're competing against someone, they have to actually compete. There's a value on everything they do. Right, guys, my feedback for you would be, if you can manipulate which foot you're playing off, do it. What I mean by that is, as I said, sometimes if I'm catching it from there, I have to pivot on my right foot. But if you can choose, I'm going to pivot on the foot that allows me to have my dominant foot free. Right? It's impossible, if I'm a right-hand shooter, to pivot on this foot, jab step, and come back into my shot. You're just not ever going to get it off. Alright? So as much as you can, manipulate it so you can catch on your liberated foot. So here, now we can play. Next thing, eyes and shoulders. Right? Eyes and shoulders. So as I catch it, I lift my eyes, I roll, bang. What am I doing here? I'm just using prop there, I'm staying in the stance with eyes and shoulders, and what will happen, defense will react to that. The last thing, as you bounce, you need chest over knee. Now, bend that leg and make sure it's a straight line between heel, knee, hip, shoulder. Alright? You're right. Put your chest out further. Lift your chin. Chest out further. Lift your chin. Now just stay there for 3 or 4 minutes while I talk. Right? That's what the first step on penetration should look like. You see a lot of them. Now that's an exaggeration, but you see a lot of them as they go, bang. So physically, they're not getting by anyone. Your whole thing is, can you get your lead foot forward? Can you get your head and shoulders in front of their head and shoulders? So same thing now over here. Pass me, I can't do a thing. All I can do is what? Foul maybe. Alright? What this? These guys doing this. So I've used one dribble, I haven't gone by anyone. So guys, I don't expect you to do it as well as he just did it. But if you're to freeze LeBron James, if you're to freeze Devin Booker, if you're to freeze Penny Taylor, Diana Taurasi, that's what they actually look like for about half a second when they penetrate. Right? You're trying to go by someone in the first dribble. Let's go against the three. Quick. Not bad. Good. Good job. Here we go. Good. See, again, that's a great progression for drills. We let them play. We didn't give them overt information to start. Let them explore. Let you as the coach identify what they need to do. Give them one more piece of detail. And I'm big on coaching the anatomy of basketball. See there, bent back leg. Stack your joints, heel, knee, hip, shoulder. Chest over knee. You don't need to be a basketball genius to follow those instructions. You need to give them anatomical advice. This is how I use my body to gain advantage. Alright, now, good. Hold up guys, good job. So that drill, if I'm starting practice, I've done my warm-up and I must commend these young men. I was here for half an hour before we started and they, not the coaches, they organised their warm-up. They communicated, they had some leadership, so really terrific job. I'm going to warm up and then I'm going to play this drill very early in practice. So hey righto guys, we've got 5 minutes on the clock. It's either 5 minutes and who's winning at the end of 5 minutes, or it's the first to 7. Whatever, give them a time and target and I'm going to play that. in the first 15 minutes of practice, consistently. Why? It teaches pivoting. It teaches creation of time and space. It makes them handle the ball. It gets them shooting. It gets them finishing. And defensively, can I pressure the ball? Can I contain the ball? I'm going to play that for 5 minutes before 15 minutes is kicked over in practice. And you can do it because it's a big time, intense. They're not running up and down the court, but it's given them all those things. I've never known a player to enjoy pivoting drills. Who's ever had a player say, hey, we're going to do some pivoting? They're like, yes! It doesn't happen. So we just did it in a sneaky way, because what have they got to do? Now we're going to build to another one. Alpha one-on-one. If you're on the perimeter, with your back to the basket, you've got the ball. Alright, up strong. Now, again, we want to talk about creation of time and space, but we want to get some specific skill into the kids. So, offense starts outside 3 with their heel to the rim. Defense starts here. Now, if you pass it around that way, you have to flip it on this foot. You're trying to pressure in. Now, you're trying to create time and space by use of fakes. If you can score off 1 dribble, it's worth 3. If you score off 2 dribbles, it's worth 2 anymore, it's worth 1. If you get him to take a 4th dribble, you get a point. And that's one of the big things when you're playing one-on-one. You've got a two-way teach. So we're going to focus on the offense, but I want to give the defense a bone. If he gets him to take more than the 4 dribbles, he gets a point. Right? So let's see that. Now, conversely, hands it around that one. You have to pivot on that foot. Simple, but we want to make sure that they can pivot on either foot. And you might think, well, that's pretty obvious. I've seen Olympians that can only pivot on 1 foot. You know, like under the pressure of the game, they really can only pivot on their left foot. Right? And it's not uncommon. So we're going to make sure they can do both. Now, guys, offense, you can forward pivot like you just did, or you can reverse pivot. If I'm trying to create time and space with my back to the basket, I'm going to reverse pivot. It's a stronger pivot, and you're more likely to create time and space. The forward pivot is quite insular. The reverse pivot, boom. Alright? And if he doesn't, I might just be able to attack him and jab step. So get a combination, right and left foot, forward pivot, reverse pivot. Go! Again, teaching methodology. Give them the macro and let them start. So just give them the broad strokes of what you want them to do and then let them start. Because if you provide every piece of detail, right, they're going to be so busy thinking that they'll forget to do. Alright? Don't let the thinking get in the road of the doing. Sometimes we overstate the game intellectually, alright? But now, I'm going to let them go for a bit, then I'm going to give them some feedback. Firstly, eyes, guys. First thing I do when I pivot, I've got to raise my eyes and find the basket. You know, offensive basketball, one-on-one. I've got to raise my eyes and find the basket. And just by raising my eyes, I might get the defense to bite, now I can drive. If I raise my eyes and they stay down, I might get a shot. But first, for 2 minutes, you're pivoting in a poor stance. Alright, you've got to sink your butt, not bend at the waist. So as I pivot, I've got to sink my butt rather than bend at the waist. There's a huge difference. Alright? In our game, low man wins. You have to sit into your game. They have to learn to sit into their game. Here, can they play here consistently? Alright? So firstly, play with your eyes. Sit into your game and be more tricky. Be more sneaky. Alright? So as I pivot, and you watch the great players, they talk trash while they're doing it. It's like, oh, God, nearly got him. I'm gone. Alright? I'm not saying you do that, but slow down and take them on a dance. And you guys, if you don't know already, you know the slow dance is better for you. Alright? So take them on a dance, create time and space. Go. One thing with offensive basketball, you've got to constantly coach the eyes. Constantly coach the eyes. First bit of feedback I would give these guys after a practice session is they don't look enough. Right? And that's our job as offensive coach. You've got to constantly coach the eyes. Really good. Play slow to start, lead fast. Good boy. Good. Now hold up. So if we were doing this drill, we've taught it already, so we say, hey guys, let's get into our one-on-one alba drill. Alright? So they remember what it is, they go do it. We let them do it for a bit, maybe 2 minutes. We stop it real quick. We give them some detail. We talk about the eyes, we talk about whatever a little bit of detail is. Alright, go for another 90 seconds. You might think these aren't very long time. It's one-on-one. 90 seconds is like 4 repetitions, and that's a long time when you're playing one-on-one. The last thing I would say to them, guys, now we've got to finish. Alright, so some really good advancements in playing slower, using the eyes, right, shoulder shape, right, playing slow, leaving fast, great. Now we're just blowing layups. Alright, if you, I don't know if anyone got up early to watch the Opals, they had a chance really to put, their foot on Serbia's throat and miss layups. Now I'm not saying layups wide open court, but still layups, everything's relative. Alright? So if you're going to teach one-on-one consistently, you've got to be a ruthless dictator on the finishing. Because they do all this and they can't finish. The name of the game is still basketball. Right? For a reason. Right? So guys, now, and who knows why we're missing so many finishes, do you think? Anyone got any feedback for me in coaching? Give you a hint. It starts with E, and I've used it consistently already. Eyes. Alright? So we're doing everything now as I go. Now I know you can dribble without looking at the ball. Right? My 10-year-old son can. But what you're looking down, and the last place you're looking is the basket. Alright? So as soon as I beat my man, I'm raising eyes, now I'm locked in like a missile, and I'm going to get it, right? So raise your eyes twice. On the pivot, raise your eyes. On the move, raise your eyes. Go. You go. Play hard. The other thing, if you're having a lot of trouble with finishing is get them to play consistently off 2 feet. Right? I've seen a lot of them, the misses are layup steps. How many times do you get a layup step layup, in other words, outside, inside, up, in the half court? realistically. Very rarely, right? So what I might do in this drill is say, hey, we're going alba, everything's 2 foot finish. Everything's 2 foot finish. Or if you want to do it this way, a 2 foot finish is worth 4 points, a layup finish is worth 1 point. Which one do you reckon they're going to prioritise in a hurry? Alright? Good job. Alright guys, this end. Really good job. Now, so there are a couple of one-on-one drills, and you can do some variations on all of those, right? With your drills, you've got to be creative and you've got to add layers, right? Because players want new drills all the time, they want new things. That's fine. The problem with that though, while you're teaching drills, you're not teaching basketball. You know, they're learning the drill. Now, of course, when you first implement it, they've got to learn it. But then I don't want to stop doing that drill every time and teach another one. Because eventually, all I'm doing is teaching drills. All they're learning is drills. So see if you can develop drill series or layered drills. And I'll just real quick on this. Starting with the block. Alright, you're in a stance, sitting in your game, sitting, hungry hands. Alright? So what's going to happen now? You're going to throw it out there, close out, you're going to shot fake, which way are you going to drive? No, where's he? Yeah. Right, big one. The obvious thing to do on offense is usually the obvious thing to do. Right? So in a game, if this guy closed out here, which way would he drive 10 times out of 10? This way. Because it's a drill, it's like, oh, what's he want me to do? I want you to do the obvious thing. So you're going to shot fake, good shot fake, right? You're going to let him go past, you're going to drive into the tee, you're going to now run, touch the sideline, come with a jump shot, pivot, pass, close out, shot fake, drive, sideline, third one is live. Third one is live. Third one. Alright, let's see that. Stay here guys. You're not going, I'm just going to show the coaches this real quick. Alright, the third one is live. Here we go. Shot fake, third fake, sideline, jump shot. Pivot. Shot fake. Third one live. Third one live. Live. Alright, so if I'm doing the alpha drill, I might do that for 3 minutes, the first one, you know, with the pivoting, and then just go straight to that. Why? It's more game-like. And what again, we spoke about players not liking pivoting drills. What have they got to do here? They've got to pivot twice, you know, on the jump stop, whatever. So we're sneaky. It's like putting the vegetables into the bolognese sauce. Right, all the mums are nodding. You know, you can't get them to eat vegetables, you whack it in the sauce, they don't know any different, right? Right, so sometimes you've got to hide the vegetables in the sauce, and it's working on closeout technique, and you can take it forever, anywhere that you want, alright? That leads to, when you're teaching one-on-one, we just did 2 drills that are one-on-one, so there's a game-like element. But it's not game-like. You know what I mean? So never in a game does the defense hand the ball back to the offense to play. Right? But it's game-like in the sense that it's one-on-one. So as soon as I've got it, I'm playing. Same with catching in the mid-post. Never is this player the feeder unguarded like the striker or right? So you've got to make sure that you incorporate some drills that look like basketball. So the drill will be this now. Right, so give me one-on-one down in the corner, I've got the block. One-on-one down in the corner. Alright, I think you go and be a screener. Right? So now we're talking about more big AFL fan, and I love their term game sim. You hear them talk about, we're doing some game sim today. In other words, game simulation. We're going to do a series of drills that are so close to a game, it's not funny. And we want to do more of that. Alright? So you're going to go down straight. Yeah? Now, defensively, you're going to navigate. Just don't get screened. You're going to come off it. Alright? There you go with it. Yep. Now, you're going to come upstream. Go off it. You're open. I'm going to throw the ball. You're going to try and navigate. Go. Then, still not. As soon as I throw it, you're out. But if I haven't thrown it, go get him again. Go get him again. You're out. You're playing one-on-one. So the defence has to navigate what happens in a game, screener. The offence has to use the screen, and now it's close to what's going to happen when they play on the weekend. Alright, so let's just show that one time at speed. Now remember, I might throw it after the first screen. Alright, I might throw the flat. What you've got to do, you've got to cut every time like you want to play basketball. Your only job in life is to not get screened and try and deny him. Alright, now, that rule must have got to Wangaratta. Right? I'm going to give you a hint. Never steal a coach's pass. Alright? But good, that's what you want. You want him to play. Alright? So either end, come on, you can pass it here. Play. Play. Right, now, what you'll see here, because it's closer to a game, they start to do what? Speed up. And I don't mean the cut when they catch it, no longer than playing slow, because they're moving now, they put it on the floor straight away. What do we start talking about? The creation of time and space. Right, so it's got to flow through. Now with this, even though we haven't spoken about decision making, what have we added? We've added an element of decisions now. Straight through, yeah. The question was, are they allowed to curl on the screen? 10 years ago, I would have said, no, don't ruin my drill. Now I actually realise it's their drill, so I let them do it. Again, I'm a big one. The obvious thing to do is the obvious thing to do. So don't penalise them for that. Yeah. Alright, hold on. Now again, methodology in terms of teaching. Alright, we're going to go back there and stay where you can hear, guys. It's good. Alright? In terms of teaching, they did a good job in getting themselves organised, didn't they? Alright? Let them go. Now, I'm going to have repetition, stop it after about 2 minutes, give them some detail. So the detail I'm going to give you guys, offensively, when you catch it, remember we spoke about the creation of time and space. So when I catch it, why am I just dribbling it every time? Alright? So that's what we've got to do. Defensively, you're about awareness, avoidance, agility. Awareness, avoidance, agility. You know the screen's coming, because that's the drill. Right? And I'm amazed how often we do this drill even at the COE, and the kids run into the screen. Like, if you go to the toilet and we set up the drill, like you didn't see that we're going to start that way, right? But why? Because they're just playing the drill, they're not playing the game. So your first thing when screens come, awareness. I know a screen's coming, so I've got to find a way to do it. Then my next focus is avoidance. I don't want to get screened. Now, you as coaches will tell them to go over, under, whatever you want to do. But at the basic level, we want them to think avoidance. And then the last A, and I'm big on the power of 3, is agility. So, screen's coming, I can't go, oh wow, whoops. Like, I got to be down, whoa, jump, I got to get narrow, I got to find a way to get it done. Now, drill is this. Right? So you're going to sprint down the screen, you're going to come off it. Come. Alright? Catch it. As that happens, you're coming back. Set the screen on the ball. You're coming off that. You're out. Alright? And now we're playing. Right? So now it's twofold. So they've got to navigate and use the down screen, then they've got to navigate and use the ball screen. Let's just show that one time. Here we go. Pretty good. Very good. Alright, you know what I'd say there? Operation Successful, Patient Died. Alright? What I mean by that is everyone did a great job. I thought the defender did a really good job of not getting screened and he really tried. I thought the offense drove hard, realised that he had a big, strong athlete on him, so what did he do? He played off 2 feet. So, tick, little cross at the end, he missed it. Why did he miss it? You might think that's too simplistic. If we had a video coming in there, we'd see that the last place he looked was pot of gold. Alright? So let's go that all around. Play faster. Let's do it more brain like that. Here we go. Now, with drills like this, you've got to be comfortable with the mess. What I mean by that is, ask the question about, can they curl? Well, if they curl, they're going to score, and they've got to let that happen. Because if what they're doing is the players are making decisions and they're being proactive. Don't want a perfect drill. Just let them play. One of the worst things that you can do is continually stop the drill. You're trying to encourage them to make the decision, yet your behaviour doesn't back up that. You keep stopping to give them the decision. Right? And I'm looking at you guys now, and I would do this in a practice session. I'd start it, and I'd go and get a drink and not look at the court for a couple of minutes, and that's my way of dealing with the frustration. If I watch and it's wrong, I'm a coach, so what do I want to do? Stop. I don't mean walk off and get a crap check, but just be okay to let them play and then come back to it. Alright, now, hold up. Alright, just so we can hear. Now, we've got to think drill progressions. So give me 2 on 2. So you've got O and D in the corner, you've got O and D on the screen, you've got D on the screen. Alright, so instead of setting up another drill 2 on 2, just go straight from this one. And the reason we talk about drill series, drill progressions, or what we call layering drills, I don't really have to stop this. I'm stopping it to talk to you guys. But I can, as that drill's happening, I just go, hey guys, play 2 on 2 now, put someone on the screener, and then they're away. There's not another stoppage. I'm sure there's guys in the room and maybe ladies in the room that have played AFL. Big ground. We love those coaches every 3 minutes. Bring it in. So you're running your 70 metres, it's freezing cold, this guy's just talking, he goes, right, back out you go. I'm like, thanks mate. Alright, 3 minutes later, bring it in. No. Alright, no one wants to do that. And that's not the game. So let them play. So now 2 on 2, same thing, you've got down screen, catch it, ball screen. Defensively, you can switch it, or you can hard show it on the ball screen, that's all you can do. Alright? Play, go. One great teaching tool for you. In the first minute, be silent. The first minute of the drill, be silent. Right? So in that drill then, it got a bit out of whack, it was all over the place. It's not time for you to talk. Because if you stop it and correct it, they've done no learning. Good. Good job. Hold up, good. Now, again, let them play, let them find their way, let them go for 2 minutes. You know, coach said 2 minutes, it's nothing. Right, okay? When coaches say that, I said, I want you to stand still, look me in the eye, and don't say anything for 2 minutes. I don't say anything for 15 seconds, you're all going to be like, what's the problem? You know, so 2 minutes is a long time of activity, is what I'm trying to get at. Now, the more people you get, we're still developing one-on-one skills, right? You can develop one-on-one skills in a 2-on-2 drill. Because what you want to do is take the one-on-one skill and apply it to the game. The more people, particularly the more defenders, the stronger you have to be with the ball. When we played that 1-on-2 one where there was no guard screener, I could just go off because there's no other hands there, right? The screener hits my guy. Now, the screener's defender's there, yours defender there, so we had 3 turnovers in 4 possessions because the kids are still playing like it's Aussie hoops. So as I go now, ball toughness becomes important, and you think about what we started with, creation of time and space. So I don't create time and space by just having the ball. I'm playing shoulders and eyes, and I'm tough with the basketball. All right. If I rip it through, I've got to rip it through. All right. We're not playing against 6-year-olds. We're playing against comparable athletes. So same drill, play a little bit faster, and be tough with the ball. Go. And that if I was to do this, I wouldn't talk to them again this drill. Yeah, within reason, but to Emma's point, if they meander the other side, it's not the end of the world because they've got to find the way. 10 years ago, I would have said, no, stop. You know, you've got to be on this feet. Yeah. And again, I'm skipping a lot of steps, right, just to get through as much as I can. Early in the teaching of the drill, you're going to be a lot more prescriptive. This is how we screen, this is the angle, this is how we use it. I've skipped a lot of that, not to shortchange it, just to get through as many. Get the other side. Now, for the sake of the clinic, I haven't worried about swapping sides, but it's huge. You know, the amount of really good players, and I'm talking NBL, WNBL players, that can't use their left hand is horrifying. Now when I say they can't use their left hand, of course they can, but in relation to the pressure they play against. If you watch the game this morning, Serbia, they're coming after you in the layup line. You know, they're competing the minute that thing's out there. So they're hitting some of our girls going left. Now they can dribble, but they can't make a play. So you've got to make sure that you get both sides. Alright, hold up. Sorry. You guys want to line up here. Even though we're talking one-on-one, see, I would call this the Drake series. I think I had you on here, one-on-one plus one Drake drill. I'd call this the Drake series. And when I say Drake, I'm not cool. It's not the rapper, all right? It's Drake University where I first saw the drill. But everything's applied to the game. So now let's play it 3-on-3. So we're going to go that side. So you're across here a little bit. Someone guards here. One guards here. So we need one of you guys to jump in. That's why I said to come up here. Alright, now of course here, within reason, you've got to give some structure and some geometry to the drill. It's 3-on-3. We've got 9 guys. I'm going offense becomes defense. New group comes on offense, defense is out. So you can flow, if you can. Alright? So now, you're going to pressure here, big time, and try and take away that pass. So we're going to down through. Now, we're still playing 1-on-1, but we're playing in 3 spots on the floor. He knows he wants to make that pass to run the drill. So what's he going to do? He's going to be up all over him and probably shading this side. In a game, what would be the obvious thing to do? Yeah, drive pressure. That's a 1-on-1 skill. Now again, 10 years ago I'd say, don't do that. Run the drill. Now I'm like, hell of a play, great decision, that's what we want. Right? We can't ask him to do things in drills one way and then play a different way. So if he's pressured and they're taking away the pass, I want him to drive the pressure. And then that stuff's irrelevant. If we can get a straight line drive. Now, but you're going to pressure without giving that up, so you've got to be strong with the ball and you've got to create what? Make a pass. On the play. Right? You're going to get open. One-on-one. We want the handler to play one-on-one and think 3 words. Can I score? Can I score? Right? Doesn't mean I'm going to score, doesn't mean I'm going to shoot it every time I get it, but their mindset has to be, when they come off that screen, can I score? The mindset of the screener is exactly the same. Can I score? So as he goes, you're running in front of the rim, that's the place to score. Alright? As that happens, what are you probably going to have done? You get out there, what's your decision making? Yeah, shoot, can I score? So can I shoot it, or do I drive my man on the closeout? Because it's helped and recovered. So when we talk about one-on-one development, don't teach it exclusively one-on-one. Right? He's playing one-on-one with the ball. He's playing one-on-one with the rim. He's playing one-on-one within space. It's all one-on-one environment. Right? For example, here. Right? And this guy does a great job of walling up. One-on-one. He's got to make a decision. So he has to pivot, execute one-on-one skills, find him on the catch. I've got to read the closeout. Can I shoot it? Do I drive it? When I drive it, if they're still there, what have I got to do? Can I pull up? Can I get to the ring? Or look at yourself, do I pass it? All that is one-on-one development. And the best environment to teach game decisions in one-on-one environment is 3-on-3. Now you might think that's a contradiction in terms. No, it's not. This is not 3-on-3, it's 1-on-1 in 3 spots. Big difference. Let's have a look at it now. I want you to play fast, guys. Don't play drill, play fast. got to the ring, right? So, again, they're all one-on-one skills, but we scored in a 3-on-3 setting. Let's go to the next one. Again there, what one-on-one play did he make? A cut. See, one-on-one's not all about the ball. He saw his defender turn his head, he made an outstanding basketball play, made a back cut. But it's one-on-one in the second setting. He's watching the ball, he's watching his man turns his head, he makes a play. That's one-on-one. And this is where the 3-on-3 environment really helps decision making. Now, give me some over here. As much as you can, try not to start too many drills static. And what I mean by static is how we just did it. Right? Now, I'm trying to build up and show you, but very rarely does you get to come down and say, ready, go. It's not the game. So now we're going to start in the elbow. Remember the first drill with an elbow has got to be what? Strong, long. Lead. As that happens, you're on the right, right, and go. So just add an element. And while we're doing that, it looks more like basketball. And leading, you know, who has a lot of problems with turnovers? Yeah, and it's big time because people don't lead. They can't get open. Again, this morning, I got up to watch the Opens before I drove down. They played great against a really good Serbian team in Belgrade, Serbia. But when Serbia went bang, ramped up the pressure, what did we do? We turned it over. Turned it over or we fouled. We lose. And that's not a criticism of the Opals, it's a great learning thing with a young team. So that's what we've got to teach here. This is going to be a hard catch. You've got to get open. Not only that, you've got to help him by throwing to his advantage. Right, here we go. Like out. And of course, the next expression which we won't do, you just play 4-on-4. So you put just put O and D there. It's the exact same drill. This is still the Drake drill. Just go boom, 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 right? And then if you've got a team, you've got 10, and I'm not being sarcastic, where I grew up, I was telling Jackie, we only used to pick 8, right? We'd go away on trips and court time and all that stuff, so we never practiced 5-on-5 ever. We never didn't have 10 to do it, right? But if you've got 10, start your scrimmage this way. You know, so you might do this. Come on, go here, quick. Quick. Alright, so what do kids say? Like my son's under 12, he's 10 years old. Sometimes I coach their little group, and we're 2 minutes in, and what question do they ask? When do we play? Right? And it's understandable. Well, I've got to tell those kids that we're playing, like 1-on-1, that's playing. 2-on-2, that's playing. 3-on-3, that's playing. It is, you know. But we can't just go to practice to go up and down and play 5-on-5. It's got to be method to what we do, they've got to learn. So I might finish this Drake series playing 5-on-5 like this. You're in the corner. Alright. So if you start to lead straight up, you're going to catch it, now you're leading, now you're downstream, now you're coming, now you're ball screen. Now on this side, what can you guys do? What would you do? What's the obvious thing to do? Screen away, yeah, you can do that, do that. Now you're playing and go from there. So it's a long way, hold up. Go back, then you're going to go up and back. it's a long way from what we started, isn't it? The 1-on-1 plus 1. But it's just morphed into it, and we can now do this drill for 20 minutes. Not this bit, the whole thing. Think about it. 3 to 4 minutes, like a minute, 90 seconds of instruction. 4 minutes of the 1-on-1 plus 1, right? 3 to 4 minutes of the 2-on-2, 3 to 4 minutes of the 3-on-3, 5-on-4, 5-on-5. Now, how many drills have we done? Well, 1, but 5. You know what I mean? Because, kids get bored, players get bored. So always have something you can move on to. Alright, so this guy's all we're going to do here. We're going to run this, then we're playing up and back. And there's no rules on the up and back. Alright, play. Go! Now, if you've got that group they always want to play, this is playing. So you just build it through to 5-on-5. Then we start the next series, and it might be 2-on-2. We build that through to 5-on-5. So in the course of a practice, you've actually played quite a bit. I'm not a big fan of just scrimmage. The old thing for years that we reward. We would reward the players by letting them scrimmage, right? The players love it, the coaches, you want to be sick. Because it's just up and down and it's like really bad vegetable soup. It's like, I know I got to do this, but I don't want to eat this, right? So, instead of just saying scrimmage and have this bad tennis game going up and down, there's a million turnovers, whatever else. Yeah, it's a bit of fun for them, but it's no value, right? So try and build through a progression that continues to build on what you're trying to do. Alright, so we've got now more decision-making drills. But again, we don't want to teach the game in isolation. We want to make sure that we continue to talk about the things that are important for us. Me, offensive basketball is about the creation of time and space, so I want to continue to work on that. Now we're going to add really significant decision components. So this is called 2-on-2 hill drill. Right? So give me 1-on-1 here, 1-on-1 there. Now, the first decision that's imperative is, can we get greens playing against whites? And when I say that, how often, kids have all got reversibles. When I was a kid, we used to train in t-shirts, we didn't have nice cool gear. Now they got nice cool gear, reversibles, all that stuff. And I always think, why do you guys even bother wearing the reversible? You might as well wear a Bon Scotches t-shirt like I used to, right? There's two whites, there's one, and they're all playing, and then they turn the bloody thing over enough without being in different colours, right? So get them in good habits with that. And I'm not saying about these young men, but we see it at the centre, it actually drives me insane. The best kids in the country, they train every day, sometimes twice, and they can't get blues and whites. Like, it's infuriating. In our women's program, they send them a WhatsApp, U5 will be white today, U5 will be blue today. And you think, well, that's pedantic. I think it's genius because I can't stand to watch one more practice where they don't get it right. Alright, hill drill. So it's 2 on 2. Now, you can only score in the lane, in the keyway. You can only score outside the key. But with Wayne, 2 on 2 wide, you can go anywhere. So even though you can only score outside the lane, it doesn't mean you can't go anywhere. So what we're doing now is overloading the decisions, and we'll build it through a series so you can see what it looks like. Initially, the decisions get in the road of the doing. You can bet she's going to get it like this. Alright? You can only score in the lane. You can only score out of the lane. You guys are trying to stop them. You guys are trying to score. Play. Perfect. Alright? Now, usually, I would say, great job, and then the last thing I want to do is stop the inertia of that drill. They just started, there was great thought process, there was great decision, so normally if this was just, I wouldn't stop it now. Because you think you're going to mess it up, like, just let them play. Now, why was it so good? I've been running this drill for 25 years, and so often you first do it, I told that guy that you can't score in the lane. What's the first thing he did? Is he cut into the lane. You know, I didn't say you can't go in there. I just said you can't score. They did that. Then they got to a pick and roll, all right, and he could only score in the lane. It was like, that's the best example of the first time that drill I've ever seen. That's what you want them to do. Find a way and understand that offensive basketball is a game of relationship. So they have to figure out how they can manipulate their relationship to get a score. Go again. Same rule, same rule. Alright, rotate through. Offense, defense out. Quick. Keep going, guys, while I talk to the coaches. Go. See, they're trying to be compliant, they're waiting for me, and it's hard, so I'm stopping and starting it. But one of the things that I see consistently, kids don't get enough repetition. It takes them too long, there's too many gaps, I call it, to get to the next drill. Alright, so early on you're going to have to coach some effort, and you just want it rolling. When they realise that you're not going to stop them and correct every little thing, they'll be better at doing it. Right? We've conditioned them to do something, then wait and look at us so we give them feedback. We've got them reconditioned. Keep playing, guys. We'll talk to you when we think it's absolutely merited. Alright, how many scores? Really nice finish too, young man. How many scores have we got outside the keyway? 0. We have? 0? Yeah. How many shots have we taken outside the keyway? 1. Right? So there'll be trends in it. There'll be things that they'll do that you've got to stop and say, hey guys, we need to get a balance. So in that situation, I think how many repetitions we have? 4 or 5? 4. We've only had 1 shot outside. I'll say, hey, any shot outside the keyway is worth 3. Again, competition, just put a different weight on it and whatever. So same thing, you're only in the key, you're only outside the key. Anything outside the key is worth 3. Anything in the key is worth 1. Go. It's funny, usually, keep going guys, usually kids all they want to do is shoot 3. Go. Now, and I mean this sincerely, These kids have been well coached because how quickly they can pick up concepts and how quickly they can get themselves organised. That's merit. And I knew that when I was waiting to start, when they led their own warm-up and preparation, right? So that's a big tip for any of you that have coached them through the journey. It is important, all right? And I'm a little bit biased because of my background. I think country kids do that better. They've got a heightened respect for coaches and people that do stuff for them. Right? They spend time driving off to the Shepparton tournament and driving wherever else, so there's just a bit more, okay, we're in this together. Right? But they've done really well with that drill. Right? The other thing they do, how many play footy guys? Yeah, it helps. You know, my little bloke's 10 and I'm whacking him into football this year. He's never played. So I just think it's got a huge advantage in that. Just like netball's got a huge advantage. You know, I'm a big, let them play multiple sports. And I know in a place like Wang in this region, they are going to play multiple sports. It's a huge advantage. I spent 11 years in Sydney. You can't play multiple sports. Because, you know, it's the end of the earth, Sydney. It takes you 20 minutes to get to the corner store. So kids only play one sport because they get stuck in traffic and whatever else. So. Now, we're going to go to round 3. Alright, so now you can have some fun with it. So offensive team, come here. Defensive team, you can hug. Fight. Fight. On fight. On fight. Pivot. Right, go again. White. Right. Fight. We're up. Now. How's the tempo? Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, it's like Boxing Day sales. You know, I always think when I see that on the news, where are you going? You can't be that desperate to get that new toaster. But anyway, they're like Boxing Day sales now. They're just running around crazy all the time with no purpose. Remember we spoke about creation of time and space, and early play slow. Right, so they're sprinting all these cuts and the guys say, oh, I've got to throw on the ball, and so we've had 2 turnovers in 2 possessions. Right, same team white on offense, slow down, play with better purpose. Remember the first drill we used strong arm, long arm. Now we're running like we're leading out from the forward pocket. It's not the same game, guys. Let's go. Good. We got screen, split, play, away, good, alright, so, stop. What I said to White, I got him in a huddle, the guard, I said, you can only shoot threes, it's the only way you can score, and the other 2 guys, you can only score in the lane. So the defence didn't know what they were going to do. Right? They didn't know they were going to turn it over like 14 times in a row. But what happened is the whites started playing the drill, not the game. You know, we just added one element. Now it's not 2-on-2, it's 3-on-3. We added one element and it's gone to hell in a handbasket. Because now white's worrying about something that they really shouldn't be worrying about. Remember when that first 2-on-2, they just played with freedom. They just did the obvious thing and they got a score, right? So sometimes when you add an element, you can create a bit of confusion or frustration. So what I would do in this setting now, I'm not going to do it, is I would go back to 2-on-2. Rather than try and fix the 3-on-3 and push my way through it, I'd go, hey, let's go 2-on-2 a little bit. And I'd say, hey, my bad drill. Let's go. All right? And they go, okay, and then you go back, and then you might come back to it, rather than you know, I remember the first basketball session I ever run. I was 18 years old in my hometown of Griffith. And the first drill we did was layups. I said, we're going to make 20 in a row. We're not moving on till we make 20 in a row. All right? So 16, 17, I missed. All right? So it takes about 10 minutes to get a 20 in a row. All right, same on the left-hand side now. All right? So we've gone about 24 minutes in practice, and all we've done is try and make 40 layups. Because I was just stubborn and didn't know any different. So don't be stubborn is the vibe of the story. Just either move on, go back to go forward, or just change it completely. All right, Breeze, you'll be quick, quick. So I've given them 3 different instructions. One kid can do whatever they want. They can score inside, outside. The other one can only score outside. And the third guy is not allowed to shoot. Now, the reason that we got a good shot there, and it wasn't a turnover, was this young man. What was your role? Scoring. But when he got it, there was a calmness. What I mean by that, when he got it, he was like, he just exhaled, right, and then did the next thing, rather than when White did it, they were trying to be so compliant. They're just moving around playing crazy until they get a result. Again, you know, it's a contradiction in terms. I spend a lot of time telling young players, play faster. And what I mean by that is, you know, just bound around, particularly young men, just race around the floor and be athletes and have fun with it and whatever else. You know, don't try and turn it into Pythagoras' theorem out there. Just play, you know. But sometimes you have to play slow. Right, and usually that's on the catch and on the finish. So as I catch it, I want to square up and look at time and space. So I'm just going to play a little bit slower. Then we move, or if I drive at speed. When I get to the basket, what I want to do, play a bit slower. All right, so there's that change of speed is really important. All right, we can improve the confidence. White on arm. Quick huddle. Here we go. Play. So what I've said to them now, I think it's number 14, I said, you're the only one that's allowed to score. The other 2, you've got to help him score. Here we go. Foul. Good go. All right, so the defense and the coaches, what I just told them then was, number 14 is the only one allowed to score. Now, these are overload drills. Of course, you wouldn't do that in a game, right? But it's about decision making. So he's got to be in a situation to be in attack mode all the time, because he knows that in the drill, the other 2 guys aren't allowed to score, right? So what were they trying to do? They were trying to screen for him, which is good. You made a great cut then. So if you noticed on that baseline drive, big guy cut to the perfect spot. Now what would happen in the game? Receive it and pass. Now he can throw the pass because he knows if I throw it there, I'm just putting him under pressure anyway, because he can't score. So he faked it and got fouled. You know, so I wouldn't restrict them scoring at all very often, but just a quick 5-second huddle, do it. Now they've got to listen, make decisions, and then they've got to work together to score under the way that you want to play. All right? So, and then you build that up to 4-on-4 with however you wanted to do it and putting that on there. All right, so I need Owen in the corner. I need Dean on the split line and 2 offensive guys out there. Jack, can you help with this, please? All right. So the drill's going to be this. Jack's going to stand here with the ball here. You're going to come. Right? Out there. Come. No. You're going to rip it. Right? You're going to rip it baseline. Yeah? Jack's going to have this hand out here. You've got to touch that. And what have you got now? A momentary what? A momentary time and space. Good boy. Or a momentary advantage. It's not a massive advantage. He's a really good athlete. He's going to get back there, but we've given the offense a chance. You're going to rip it. Walk through. Right? Rip it. Now, if you can score, fine. If he scores, I'm going to kick your ass. Respect. Right? Because there's a defender right there. Right? So, now, as he comes, help, so what have you got to do? Right? You've got to make a play, and then you can cut and get in there. Right? Fine. You've got to hold that there. Right? So you're going to kick it. Alright, follow down, reload. You're going to shoot. Right? Right, ready? Alright, so. Ready? Play. I'm okay with that. I thought that was a really good cut. And you saw it late and there was too much pepper on it, but you know, I'm not mad at that at all. Right, here we go. Alright, walk it over. What's starting to creep in? Mistakes or turnovers, aren't there? And that's okay. I think we've matured as a coaching group that we're not as worried about mistakes anymore. Right? If the intent is there, we can live with it. Now, if it's the same mistake multiple times, now we've got to address it. But this is why, and I predicated the whole clinic, you've got to develop skill. And don't be afraid to teach skill 1-on-0. I know it's not cool and I know it's not the latest methodology and we want to use small-sided games and all these things. Right? Eventually, they need a foundational skill. Can they dribble right and left hand? Can they pass? Can they finish? Can they shoot? Can they come to a jump stop? This isn't breaking down on decisions, is it? It's breaking down on fundamental skills. So again, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I always use the AFL as an example. I'm shocked of how many AFL, and I'm not talking O&M, I'm talking the AFL, players can't kick. They can't kick. It's like only 99.9 repeater of the game. They can't kick because we've gone away from just partner kicking until we get really good and really skilled. Right? We're doing all this. We've forgotten this bit. Same here. All right. So let's go now. If you get in the lane, you've got to give them tools. So 10 years ago we said stop turning it over. It's really good instruction, isn't it? All right. And funnily enough, it never worked. Stop doing that. Stop it now. Right? Now, if you get in the lane and you're not quite sure what your rule is, you have to come to a jump stop and create a pass by a pivot. And that's so very common in this drill. They want to go in there, oh no. If I'm not quite sure, come to a jump stop, pivot, grab pass. Right, play. Stop. Alright, you're making your life hard. Just get it, and go to the basics. Go. Jump stop, good. Right, now, one would suggest that I'm a coaching genius. No. Came to a jump stop, really good. Great. To tell you who's in, right? Listen, got in there, jump stop, perfect pivot, create a long closeout, we end up getting a layup. Alright? So, rather than say stop turning it over, give them a very doable, simple, skill-based thing to solution. Our job is to help them with solutions. Ultimately, that's our job as a coach, to help them with solutions. All right, if we do that, now we've got a chance. All right, let's swap over here, let's get back to people in the drill. Quick, guys. Here we go. Hold up, now. Couple of things here. They're tired. They've had to do a lot of listening. They've been here for 2 hours. You know, I get it. But you've got to help them with this too, with solutions. How long? Now they're taking forever to get organised. All right? Guys, we need to prepare. We need to use colours. We've got to work through this. Work through. Get changed, get organised, and get to the drill. Here we go. Come back. You've got to grip it to get there. Alright, you've got to get a straight line drive. Here we go. Jump stop. Pivot. Deploy. Alright, hold up. Alright. That's where pivoting, I can't talk enough how important pivoting is. In that situation, if he can't pivot, he turns it over. Now, did it look pretty? No. Did he turn it over? No. Alright, so give him the tools. And the tools start in the extremities. They start with the feet and the eyes. We've spoken a lot about feet and eyes, and that's the game. Alright, let's go now. We're running out of time. Let's go, this. Give me someone white in the ball. Man guarded. White in the corner, man guarded. White here, man guarded. Alright, so as part of decision making, basketball's a game of advantage, disadvantage. So you have to simulate that advantage, disadvantage in your practice. So this is Hornets 3-on-3 B2+1 drill in your notes. So what I'm going to do, start it all up. Again, we want to start drills not static. So, that's all game like. Someone's got to get open. Alright, you're going to come and set a ball screen. Now, as he does that, you've got to go into the 2 feet in the halo. So stop. So we've created a momentary advantage. A momentary 3-on-2 advantage. Right, and he's trying to get back into play. Right? And then we've got to make decisions from there. So he drives, you roll, right? Now he might have an advantage going to the basket, or he might get nervous and help off, penetrate, he's wide open. What's your decision? Shoulder drive, go from there. Alright, so we're just trying to simulate decisions here. Now, when we do numerical advantage, disadvantage, we want to give the opportunity for the offense to have success. Just like learning, right, when kids ride their bike, how do we give them a level of success when they first start riding their bike? We put training wheels on, so they can ride it, they can feel like they're riding their bike, right? Then we take them off, what do? Mum or dad runs behind them so they don't fall over. Success, and then eventually it leads to the skill. Same here. All right, you ready? So if you run a lot of pick and roll in your offense, these are great drills to do it, numerical advantage, disadvantage. You could put a fourth guy in the corner and play 4-on-4 if you wanted to. Now, as a variant, I'm going to start down here as a coach. Now, Jack, can you pass it now? So, I'm going to give him a command. So, it's leads. Right? If I don't say anything, what are you going to do? You're going to come in and start, stay low, right? And you're going to be late. If I say go, you're going to go in, and you're going to trap the ball string. You two guys, you've got to force you into it. You're going to trap it, you're going to roll, you've got to make a decision, and now we're playing. So, stop. He's got to make a decision what's he doing against the trap. He's got to make a decision how do I get to space. He's got to read the space. He's got to read the situation. Do I help or do I stay? Alright? And so we just add a variant to the same drill. Alright, here we go. Go. Pretty good. Alright, now. He did a great job. He came off it. Again, we've got to constantly coach the eyes. Came off and he looked what was happening. You see where he's done. Yeah. Perfect. Alright? So you just vary it up a little bit and play from there. Alright, let's go again. Second one trap and whatever, you know, don't give them a cadence of how it's going to be because that's not how the game works. We can put 4 people in this, so we have O&D in the corner, and then we can go from that. The other thing we do is we talk about 4-on-4 trap drill. So give me O&D in the corner quickly. Isn't boy a great word, Australian word? That's great. Right, now, so the drill is this. Lead, come, now we trap everyone now. We trap everyone now. So you guys have got to make a decision. If I'm, and then you play out of that. Wait. If I'm coaching young teams, I'm trapping a lot, not to get an advantage defensively, to teach my team offensively. Because the trap is the ultimate, and I don't mean full court trap, you know, where those teams, they bully the bad teams and they win by 80, it's just the coach is being imbecile, right? But have a lot of trapping system, so now I've got to play with my eyes up, I've got to be able to pivot, I've got to go. Alright, really important. So you might not even trap a lot in the game, but I'm going to have a lot of drills where there's 2 on the ball and we've got to make great decisions. 4-on-4 trap drill, let's go. Let them play. Now, obviously in a game there's a shot clock, or in most games there's a shot clock. So So don't let them do ridiculous things like have the ball for 40 seconds because you're not practicing something that's... But don't worry too much about if it gets a bit... Just let them find... Again, what are we trying to get them to look for? Solutions. Don't provide the solutions. Try and... While the drill is live, try and be quiet. Right? And you've all seen those coaches, and maybe some of you have been those coaches at times when we're under pressure. Pass it, drive it, shoot it. The reality is, by the time that information gets to that young person, they process it and do the action. You know, it's 1.5 seconds after you've said it, you know, and the game's not that slow. So when the drill's live, try and be a little bit quiet, rather than you know, I call them commentator coaches. All right, last one. You're doing a great job. Right, right, so you guys have got to think, where would you be in relation to the ball? Where would you be in relation to the ball? You'll come up a little bit, something different. And the play would be a little bit different. Why? Because we're starting with an advantage here. Right? Usually a situation where I beat my man and for a minute it's 5-on-4. So we're just trying to add that advantage. So you're going to penetrate as soon as he penetrates, you're trying to go with him. But we've got a momentary advantage. Now, the only shot you can take is a layup. Again, Green, he gets a layup in this situation. So you guys are going to help. The only shot you can take is a layup. Other than that, you've got to find the open player. And now we're playing 4-on-4. Alright? So the defense has to make a decision how they help. The offense has to make a decision who gets to the open player. Play. All it is, again, when kids say, oh, when are we playing? This is playing. You know, like, if I'm a player, I love this drill. I'm like, we're just playing all the time, we swap it over, we go again. But what it's got a bit of learning value because we're fighting the decision making. Right? Again, just scrimmage, I think, complete waste of time. Right? Complete waste of time. Ready? Go. Like, go. Movement up. Oh, yeah. Good. Down smooth. Alright, so now the only thing I would say is you've got to give them some tools to get. So for the handler, very simple. Early help, early pass. Late help, late pass. Right? Because what happens is either kids don't take enough dribbles, pass it, it gets deflected, or they take too many dribbles. And what I mean by not taking enough dribbles, so he's got the ball, he takes one hard dribble and then goes to pass. No one's helping. No one's helping. So he's got to take any time at least 2 dribbles to see. Now still no one's helping. Now everyone helps and we go. So early help, so if someone's crazy and goes, oh, that's the best player in the team, and runs at him like it's bushfire, right, pass it. If not, make a decision. Last one. Sorry? No, but yeah, that's the last one. Yeah. And so with the names of the drills, don't worry about them so much. I'm not very smart, so to to remember the drills, I call them where I saw them, right? Or who I saw it from. You know, like if I've got a drill called the Gordy drill, which I saw Gordy McLeod run. So I've got to think that. Whatever you want to call your drills, but give them names, because what you want to be able to do after you've taught them is to be able to walk on the floor and say, hey guys, let's get to know the drill now. And they remember what it is, and they can get organised rather than, okay, what we're going to do is play 4 on 4. They actually know the drill, so it stops you having to teach it all the time. And just give names. It doesn't have to be just names that you can remember and that they can remember too. Alright? Before we go to questions, being a clinic demonstrator is really challenging at times. I said to these guys, this is about you, and so they were helping you. Right? But at the same time, I had an expectation of them to be able to help me help you. And I thought these guys were just tremendous from the minute I walked in the door. So can we thank you for congratulating them? I'll get a drink.
We'll just go to questions and answers. If anyone's got any questions of Peter, it doesn't have to be about today. It can be about something that's happening in your team that you're coaching that you want to ask a question about. But just ask questions. He's here. Let's make the most of it. My first question is a bit of a joke, but bounce pass, Peg. What's your thought on a bounce pass?
I'm not big on bounce passes. I think junior basketball we throw too many. Certainly teach it, particularly for the littlies. You know, we teach them chest pass, bounce pass, overhead pass. But really, in any like the level of athletes that these kids are, bounce passes are going to get stolen or deflected 8 times out of 10. Right, so I'm big on if it's pick and roll, so it's going towards the basket, yep, I'm going to use a bounce pass because I need to throw it underneath the arms of the defender. If I'm in the lane, so I drive hard, and it's 2-on-1, I might throw a little bounce pass there, but I see it consistently, and I saw it this morning with the Opals, and my heart's in my mouth. I don't know if you remember, Sammy threw the ball in bounce, threw a bounce pass, and it was that close to getting stolen because it's just slow. You know, if I said to you, get the ball from me to you as quickly as you can, would you bounce it? No, so it's just a common sense thing for me. And I think part of it is the reason young players throw bounce passes on the perimeter is this player's not doing a good enough job getting open, and this player's lazy. Right? Because it's hard to make that where if I just go, I'll put it off there. But I just think they get deflected too often. But I'll say this, that's me, and I know it's Jackie too from having coached with her and been around it for 20 plus years. It's not a rule. Like, you know, if you really believe in it, great, I just don't.
Do you have any particular, with your eyes up, taking the shot you'd like to get out in the backcourt? Do you have anywhere that you would coach the player to look at that get like 80% of the shots in as opposed to?
Yeah. It's a big one. There's been lots of studies on, for those that didn't hear, it's about, you know, if I'm shooting it, where am I looking if I'm not using the backboard? Where am I aiming, in essence? And over the years, we've had a lot of studies being done, the AIS and whatever else. We've spoken to archery people who their whole game is target. And, you know, we've done tests on right eye, left eye, all sorts of things. My thing is at the back of the rim, is what I teach. Look at the back of the rim. So if I'm front on, it's legitimately the back of the rim. If I'm side on, it's still the back side of the rim, right? I've had coaches, I had one coach that used to teach, create a crosshair in your mind and aim for the middle of the crosshair. Sounds pretty cool, isn't it? If it was archery. Like I'm out there, I'm beating my man. You know, so whatever you do, but I think back of the rim makes sense. Because the front of the rim, if you aim for the front of the rim and you're 100% accurate, you'll never make a shot, right? So that's why I just say backside of the rim consistently and go from there. But I think one of the things that is really important with aim is to give the kids some context on how big that rim is. Years ago in my hometown, Griffith, we had a coach that went on to be highly successful, and at the start of every season he would get a spanner and he'd take the ring off the backboard, right? And he'd give it to each kid to look, because two full-size basketballs can fit through that rim at the same time. True story, right? If it's compliant to the rules, two sixes side by side definitely, and two sevens more than likely. That's how big that circumference is. And he used to show, and like your body language, really? We used to have to hold it and go, God, that's big. So just give them an understanding of how big that area is. Give them a carving and go from there. But it's an ongoing thing. I've got a friend of mine from Canada. He goes, you want to be Brad when you shoot. Back, rim, and down. He wants Brad shots. Back, rim, and down. You know, and that's his little thing. But yeah, that's what I focus on. All right, it's not uncommon. The worst question you can possibly ask at the end of someone talking for 2 hours is any questions. Yeah, can we go now? Really appreciate Wangaratta Basketball and my long-time friend Jackie for organising this. I love doing clinics. I love sharing time with coaches, and I love doing it in regional Australia more than anything. You know, it's lucky. I don't have a real job. I get to do this. You know, you guys have to coach and have real jobs. I haven't had a real job for 25 years. It's sort of cool, right? But I really appreciate it. I appreciate everything that you do for these young people. And if you don't do what you do, we don't get to benefit with the boomers and the ovals and the Centre of Excellence and whatever else. We've got a young girl from Wodonga just joined us at the Centre of Excellence, Sienna Harvey. We've obviously had a host of players from the border and this region. You know, as I mentioned, one of my favourite players of all time that I coached was Hannah Zavik. I ran into Heather Oliver at the football just last year. Things like it's really cool. So, you know, it's great to be back here sharing some time with you. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
I will put it in my office. I'll send you a photo.
But thank you very much for coming down and giving us your time and your expertise. It's awesome and it's fantastic for country coaches to have someone like you take that time to give to us. So if we can all just say thank you. And we'd just like to acknowledge our life members, Mr. and Mrs. Ma. Thank you for coming down and taking the time to come and watch Peter and our future athletes from Wangaratta. So